Starting in the United States, where the White House has announced new tariff rates for dozens of countries that have not yet reached a trade deal with the United States. Most of the measures are due to come into effect in 7 days. Well, having a look through the list, we can see that the steepest rates include Laos at 40% and Switzerland at 39%, while Canada, one of America's closest trading partners, will face a rate that's been increased from 25 to 35%. Other countries affected by the executive order are India at 25%, Taiwan at 20% and Indonesia at 19%. These taxes will be paid by companies that bring foreign goods into the United States, with experts warning that higher costs could be passed on to consumers. Well, looking at President Trump's latest deal with the EU, I put it to our North America correspondent, David Willis, that there's plenty of evidence these tariffs and Donald Trump's plan is working.
You're absolutely right, Tig, and indeed the stock market has been buoyant in recent weeks, having forgotten all about the controversy that was stirred up back in April, of course, when Donald Trump initially announced his plans to levy these tariffs, quite steep tariffs on more than 60 countries, ranging, we now know, from 50% to 10%. The White House touting this as a sign of Donald Trump's abilities, if you like, as a negotiator, as someone who can already bring billions of dollars into the Treasury coffers by means of these new levies. But there is, of course, concern that eventually this could all feed through to the consumer, the man on the street, who will face rising prices in the shops. And that, of course, could affect the economy here, the largest in the world.
Indeed, many economists saying it could make inflation worse. I wonder how are ordinary Americans reflecting on that risk?
Well, I think the devil really is in the detail, because it appears that the Trump administration has actually reached agreements with perhaps only about a dozen countries so far and the EU. And of those agreements, only one, the first deal that was struck, that with the UK, has actually been signed. So there is a lot of detail still to be worked out here, Tig, and the devil very much in the detail potentially, because we have still, of course, agreements to be reached with the key trading partner, China, which, of course, at one stage the United States was threatening to impose tariffs of 145% on. Well, since then, there's been a trade negotiation truce, if you like. Those negotiations, key negotiations, due to continue in a few weeks' time.
David Willis reporting there. Well, Thailand is facing a 19% tariff. Our Southeast Asia correspondent, Jonathan Head, is in Bangkok, where he's been speaking to manufacturers about its impact. Jonathan.
Yes, it's been a very tense time for the manufacturers here, Tig, because Thailand was slow to get its negotiations going. It was well behind many of its neighbours. We saw Vietnam, Philippines and Indonesia get deals well before Thailand did. There were reasons for that. Thailand is highly dependent on US exports. A fifth of its exports go to the US. Its economy depends on exports in general. But Thailand has a big agricultural sector which the US wants access to. There were many complicated issues that came up in these negotiations, so it went right down to the wire. Thailand was actually told 2 days ago that they had a deal, but they weren't told the number until this big announcement from Donald Trump. And I think that 19% compared to 36%, which is what they were facing, will be a big relief. Now, I've spent time with these manufacturers, with other people involved in the trade talks in the past 2 weeks, as they've gone through the nail-biting wait to find out what kind of levies they were going to face.
Asia is the world's workshop. This factory in Thailand, one cog in a vast production machine. Each of these reels holds thousands of tiny electronic parts, made in many different countries, delivered here at SVI Electronics by robots, which glide silently along the factory floor.
Assembly lines like this are the lifeblood of the electronic world in which we all now live. Thousands of companies making components for pretty much any device you can think of. This is quite literally the global supply chain in action. Now President Trump's tariffs have really thrown a spanner in the works.
Another Thai factory, this one making rubber components, many destined for the US. It's simple stuff that everyone needs. Brackets for washing machine cables, rubber eyedroppers. Margins are tight. Had they been stuck with a 36% tariff, it could have cost them their US market.
If we get 36%, then it's going to be terrible for us, frankly speaking. We need the right number so we can, plan ourselves, and we will find the solution how to survive, how to be competitive.
But to get the lower tariff rates, Thailand has been under pressure to make concessions, in particular on pork. Thais eat a lot of it, so pig farming is a big business here, and the US wants a piece of it. Thai farmers have been lobbying their government not to give in. American farmers produce on a much bigger scale than us, and their costs are much lower, says farm owner Warawat Sirapun. If we allow their pork into Thailand, farmers here won't survive. But even with a tariff deal, Thai manufacturers say they still don't know what exactly it will mean for them.
So I think what we're seeing a pattern here where Trump, wants to announce to the world a very top line, we've got a deal, and this is the key elements, 40%, 20%, whatever it is. But because there's no detail, then it's not really a deal, because there's so many details that need to be part of that deal. And if they're not thrashed out and agreed, and I don't know how long it will take, then how can we actually implement the so-called deal?
Trade has transformed this region, delivering enviable growth. Now President Trump has taken the punch bowl away. And yet, the process has been so rushed, countries here still aren't sure if the party is truly over.
So we still don't know exactly what Thailand had to give to get this reduced tariff rate. We don't know for this whole region how the US is going to deal with the issue of transshipment. The US wants to charge double the tariff rate for goods it says have too much Chinese content, yet all the manufacturers in this region depend very heavily on the Chinese supply chain. There is still disagreement on some of the deals that were done some time ago about exactly what was agreed. Indonesia and the Philippines say they haven't given the US carte blanche to import into their countries. The US says they have. Vietnam is saying nothing at all about the deal. We understand it disagrees even with the tariff rate. So there's a lot that's still not clear about exactly what's been agreed.
Jonathan Head giving us a summary of how things are in Thailand. Let's take you to India now. It's one of those countries not to have done a deal with the US. In recent days, President Trump has criticised its approach. India is facing a 25% tariff. Let's speak to our correspondent, Archana Shukla, who's in Mumbai. What's been the reaction there, Archana?
Well, for the businesses and exporters, there is still a sense of uncertainty. They are on the edge. They don't know where they stand. So the 25% tariff for now stays. But there is also, the Trump's statement that there will be an additional penalty for India buying Russian oil and arms, and how that translates, whether it will be an additional tariff or would be that penalty would come in some other form, is still not clear. The fine print is still not clear. And most of the businesses, especially the textile sector that I was speaking with very recently, said they are not sure whether to proceed with their orders or not because there is a lack of certainty on how this will proceed. As far as trade talks are concerned, there is, there is definitely a sense of frustration and dissatisfaction building up on the United States side. Mark Rubio just said that while India is a strategic ally, India's relationship with Russia and the fact that they buy oil and arms from Russia is certainly an irritant in the trade talks and something that US is frustrated with. So this is becoming one of a larger challenge. India so far has maintained they are open to a fair and balanced trade deal. We know that agriculture and dairy sectors, something which India has not been willing to open up to US imports, has been one of the sticking points in the trade talks. But now even even India's ties with Russia is adding on, and there would be a lot that both India and the United States will need to clear up before a consensus is reached. India so far has maintained that they have a sovereign right to import oil based on its national interest, and they would buy it for the developing country from wherever they get as far as prices and in a cheaper prices is concerned. But as far as the US trade deal, the broader trade deal for which the September deadline has been put, that is still on the table. The two countries still have to sit and talk on it. We understand that a trade team would be here from the United States in mid-August, so we'll still have to wait and watch how it progresses. But in the meantime, high tariffs of 25% apply, and exports, large export sectors like textiles, seafood, electronics, even pharmaceutical, they are all on the edge here.
Archana Shukla in Mumbai, thank you very much.